Hey everybody, this is Larry and we have another video for you today, and today's topic is how to get the most value out of your Ancestry DNA. Now, you've taken an Ancestry DNA test and you've looked at your DNA matches and you've compared it, you've color-coded them, and you've followed all the things that are in the videos. What's something else you can do with it? And how can you get more bang for your buck? You've already paid for the DNA test, you've got the results, you found your ethnicity, you've color-coded your matches, you've done some searches, made your tree, but you're stuck. You have some walls and you're trying to get further. Well, what you can do is download your DNA and upload it to some other sites. And there's some other really good sites. And we'll talk about one, but first let's go to what's necessary to download your DNA. You go to your DNA homepage, and up at the top right, it'll say Settings. And when you come to the Settings page, what you want to do is you want to click Download Raw DNA Data. And here you'll enter your password, and this will be unchecked by default. And you'll click it and enter your password. Now, if you uncheck this, it won't even let you confirm. So once you've done that, then you'll get an email, and your email will look like this. It'll say Raw DNA Download Confirmation, and you'll click here where it says Confirm Data Download. When you do, you'll get a Download Raw Data, and so when you click on it, you'll actually get a pop-up, and you can't, let's see if I can get the window capture on that. No. Basically, it just asks you to save the file. I recommend that you save it to your desktop, or at least save it to a place where you know where to get it. And so once you click it and you save it, now it begins the journey of what you can do. And now here it says begin your DNA journey. What you can do is you can go to upload DNA data and autosomal DNA, and when you click on that, it'll actually give you the ability to sign up, and you can do this for free. So you're going to be able to use FTDNA for free. Even though you didn't test with them, you're going to be able to take your DNA data from Ancestry, go to FTDNA, and use it in a lot of ways similar to what you did on Ancestry against a whole new database of people and with some different tools, and find out more information. So you're going to upload the information. You'll follow the instructions here. Upload, the DNA data that you just downloaded. And it's going to take you about 1 day, maybe 2, for it to completely upload. And the reason that is there's, 1 million people in their database, just like there's several million in the Ancestry database. And it has to take your DNA data and compare it to each person in the database. And so it'll go person 1, person 2, all the way up to 1 million or 2 million or whatever they're up to now. And when it's done with that, then you'll get a notification that it's done. You can check back in a day. My experience has been about a day, but people are telling me now it's taking closer to 2 days. So upload it, and this is a great thing for a Friday video, because you can do it on a Friday, upload it, or a Thursday, and then by the time you're ready to use it on the weekend, it'll be there. So once it's uploaded, it'll assign you a kit number, and you'll be able to see your matches. Now, the match list is a lot like the Ancestry match list, and you'll have your list and you'll have your centimorgans of match, but it's going to give you some additional information that Ancestry doesn't give. It's going to give you your longest block, which is, a kind of a visual indicator on a closeness, linked relationship if they've linked, if they're an X match or a Y match. And it'll also tell the surnames that are in their trees that they're looking for. The people that have their trees, there's no tree here, and see there's no information. But the people that, have trees, now this one's probably a private tree because there's some information on the names that are in their trees. And that's pretty handy. But it has some search tools and some things that Ancestry doesn't have, and not to mention the people here. Now, this person ported their information over from Ancestry. This is my mother's over from Ancestry, and then of course me. So these two are from Ancestry. All of the rest of these aren't from Ancestry. They're not on Ancestry. I would never know about these people if I did not port my DNA over to FTDNA. This is information that's available to me that would have been lost had I not followed this process. So I moved my stuff, I got it over to FTDNA, and now what I did is I linked my mother. I created my tree and I linked my mother. Well, what it did immediately was it flagged all of these people in a maternal match. Okay, an ancestry in the DNA match, it says, mother side, mother side, mother side, and it's got this nice, color coded on everybody that's on my mother's side. And then this was a cousin that was on my father's side, a first cousin once removed, a half first cousin once removed on my father's side, and I linked her. But notice how it linked, some other people on that side. It was able to take my DNA and her DNA and say, okay, here's the people in the file that you've matched, and it overlaid that. And I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to pull up shared matches. I didn't have to click person to person to person to person over and over all the way down to my 20 centimorgans. I was able to get it. And it flagged 30 people for me right here on my father's side, and I did nothing except link one person. I linked my first cousin once removed, Rachel, and all the rest of the people. It said, okay, you and Rachel, DNA match of these people. That's really cool. And then on my mother's side, but I had about 100, 200 for my mother. But then when I linked this second cousin once removed into the tree, between their link and my mother's link, it blew this up to 652, which was really, really cool. Now, Ancestry, they have, some searches and surnames, and you've got that here. The one thing that's here that's not in Ancestry that is really cool is, here's your common ancestor. So, they both now have this common ancestor. You can click on a person, who all do they have in common? But now you can find not in common with. So it's a way of searching. It's like, okay, I wanted to pick Joyce, and, who. Now, I want a list of people that me and Joyce do not have in common. Well, I find mostly on my mother's side are not in common. That person's probably on my father's side. Now, there was one father, and there can be some crossover. We talked about that in a video where one person's related to both sides of your tree, but it doesn't mean your tree is related, it just means that person touches both sides. So this Joyce Lacey, it's very likely that because she's not in common with all these people on my mother's side, and she's this close, it's very probable that she's over on my father's side. That's very, very handy. And then, you've got some other tools that are here that are not over on Ancestry. And the one that you've probably read in the comments and seen before is this Chromosome Browser. And this gives you a visual representation of your chromosome is matched to somebody. Well, now this is Joyce. Let's pick somebody else. We're going to compare to my mother. So let's compare the chromosomes to my mother. We've got some good, strong segments, as you would expect, to parent-child. Now, on the gender chromosome, I match her with X only because she doesn't have a Y. And so here's where we match. Here's the overlays. And so over here it says, here's the chromosome view. Now here's the detailed segment view. So this gives you a breakdown. Here's the segment, starting location, 72,000, end location, 247 million. I share 267 centimorgans, and I have 33 matching SNPs. Now, this starts getting really technical, and this is really advanced. So, if you're going to get into the Chromosome Browser information, we can do a whole video just on that topic alone. But, this is just an example of some of the tools that are available to you here. Now, another thing is we talked about over on the Ancestry DNA, we talked about the ethnicity results. And over here it says 65% Ireland, England, and I'll bring it up fully here so we can compare these two. Now remember, this is the same DNA data, same exact DNA, same raw DNA. It says 65% England, Wales, 23% Ireland, Scotland, 6% Germanic, 6% Sweden and Norway. So we come back over here, and I'm going to look at my origins here. Now my origins here say 92% European. Okay, over here 92% would be 88% plus 4, so 94% European. Well, okay, that's pretty close. Jewish diaspora and Sephardic Jews, my other one tells me I'm Norway and Sweden, so why is that? And then trace results, Siberia. Okay, so that's not over on my Ancestry. Well, who's right? Well, we don't know. And, that's why I've not in the past put a whole lot into the ethnicity results. Now, the last video was talking about how to use ethnicity results to kind of look over and verify some of your, tree data. And it is good for that. But, when you look at it from this perspective, there's a lot of variation, and this is off of the exact same DNA data. It's not like one had, one set of DNA and I took a test and their test is better. This is the same ancestry test. And so that can be a little confusing, and that's why on the ethnicity you have to kind of take what you get on the ethnicity with a grain of salt, because the different DNA companies are going to tell you, based on the exact same DNA, their special sauce and how they read and interpret those DNA results will give you completely different ethnicities, potentially. They may give you mostly the same, but then right here, ancient origins, this is something specific to FTDNA. Non-European, don't have any here. Middle age invader, farmer, hunter-gatherer. So you see that on some of them. So, the main tools that you're going to be using, at least initially when you first port your data over, because you're coming from Ancestry, I think of Ancestry as a nice, clean, easy starter. But then when you get into these other sites, there's a lot more you can do, and it segues off of the nice, easy starter. But boy, you can really get into the FTDNA was made with the science, behind, as far as what they wanted to accomplish with it. It really, really has some great stuff and great search tools. Oh, and let's go back to that. If you go down to the bottom, I know where I said Ancestry, you have to get, this other tool from DNA, jedcom.com, and download, the matches. Here down at the bottom, you just click CSV and it downloads the matches. Or if you've done a filter, like I said, I want all the Browns or all the Taylors or all of McFarland's in my family line, I can type that in up in the search above, just like you would at Ancestry, type that in. But then whatever results I get in my list, and we'll just do one just for, quick sake, McFarland, that's a line that I keep researching and running into inconsistent data. Well, I've got two, and I can download those matches. And then if I want to go into my surname line of Brown, then I do the surname search for Brown, and I get 428 matches. It only shows 30 here. And if I want to look at them, I can download those matches all into a spreadsheet and begin working with those, contacting them, seeing how they're related, and trying to figure it out, and use those to help break through my walls. So that's very handy. Now, there are some other sites, and another one is jedmatch.com. It's pretty much the same way. You'll go to the website, you'll log in and create a free account, and then upload your data, wait a day or two, and then you'll get the results back, and it'll give you matches. And again, it's not as clean as FTDNA or Ancestry as far as the website, because that's not really what they do. They almost work exclusively on the back end with very little on the front end. And so with that in mind, then they can give you some really good results. GEDmatch accepts a lot of DNA from FTDNA, from 23andMe, from Ancestry, and puts them all there, just like FTDNA brings them in from 23andMe and Ancestry. So by bringing them into these databases, Ancestry has its pool, and those are only people that test with Ancestry. You cannot upload your DNA from any of these other sites to Ancestry. But you can download your DNA from Ancestry to FTDNA or to GEDmatch, or from 23andMe to FTDNA, or from MyHeritage to FTDNA, or from FTDNA or Ancestry over to MyHeritage. But Ancestry doesn't, or excuse me, I don't think, MyHeritage lets you upload. Ancestry does not let you upload. So, bringing your data into these other databases expands the number of people that you match. So if you're looking for your family tree, you're looking for relatives, and you've taken an Ancestry test. If you export that test in the way that we talked about before, you go to your page, click to download your raw data, you'll get the email, confirm your download, click on download your raw data, and then just upload it, upload there. It'll ask you to create an account, and then after 2 days you'll get to this page where you can use it. Now, it also has, FTDNA also has things that Ancestry doesn't have, and like the add-ons and upgrades, and you can do some of the health stuff. One of the things that's big for FTDNA is the Y for the males. This is only for the males. You can trace your paternal lineage patriarchal, I guess would be the more correct term, father to father to father to father. And then you have your mtDNA, which, is your mother's lineage. And so you got some advanced tests, some gene variant factoids. And now look at here, this must be new. See, transfer your Y-DNA results from Ancestry now. See, Ancestry used to do that, and now Ancestry doesn't do the Y-DNA. So, and again, FTDNA, a great site. It has some great tools, has some tools that are not available in Ancestry. And the Chromosome Browser is one, and then as you buy additional tests, it opens up some more things. When you do the Y-DNA or mtDNA, you'll see an entire section of like 5 to 10 more things that you can do with that, comparing it against their database, comparing it against surname groups. So let's say you get your Y-DNA, you go to a surname group, and we want to go to the DNA results, and we're going to look at a colorized chart. So this is if you had taken the Y-DNA test. I have not taken one, but if I had taken the Y-DNA test, it brings back this data. So here's the different areas of DNA. These are the repeating segments inside that area, and then it compares it, and they group it up to the different people. So I know where my group is. I've looked at my group because I've got some relatives that I identified. They've taken this test, and I've looked at this. So I know where mine are, and so that's very handy for me. But this, when you do the Y-DNA, you're getting right down to the nitty-gritty, and you're doing some hardcore research. So there's a lot that can be done with family tree DNA, both from your autosomal right here, finding your matches, getting that information just like you would on Ancestry. And this is kind of cool. It says you got the paternal, maternal, and both, because it recognizes you're going to have some that are related on both sides. Now, when I flag all of mine for the Browns, I guarantee there's going to be some for both. I've already identified that. But it hasn't, because I haven't linked relationships and identified them yet. And that's not in common with. The in common with is powerful. Give me all of the people that match a certain person. I've said long ago, Ancestry came out with that back in November. It's been here for a long time. That was powerful. That was a powerful tool. Ancestry had a nice clean interface on that. But the not in common with Ancestry still doesn't have, and that is powerful. So you can click on surnames, find certain people, do a not in common with, and you can do things here you just can't do anywhere else. That's really nice. And then with the GED match, they have some tools too. There's one of them that says, "Are my parents related?" And it can take your DNA and say, okay, I've looked at both sides, because every segment of DNA you get half from mother, half from father. So are they related? Are these two sides, are they kin to each other? And that's a pretty cool tool in finding some stuff out. So anyway, it's your DNA. You've already paid for the test. You've got it. You've got Ancestry. You can download your data, upload it to these other sites, and expand through FTDNA, MyHeritage, or GEDmatch, and find more people that are DNA matches that have taken their test at these other places, and maybe they're not watching the videos like you are, and they haven't found out how to move their data over. And so now you can find out, and by putting them in these other databases. Or maybe they have found out, but unlike you, they didn't do Ancestry. And so the only way you can compare to that person is if they move theirs to FTDNA and you move yours to FTDNA, and then you can see each other. So if you got some cousins, then they say, well, I took my test at MyHeritage, or I took my test at 23andMe, not Ancestry. Well, you can port yours over to FTDNA, they can port theirs over to FTDNA, and then after a day or so, you can compare each other and find out that information. You can get as nitty-gritty as you want. Go down to the Chromosome Browser and look exactly to see what that lineage is sharing. And so, when you do your DNA test, we all do it for different reasons. Some to find out ethnicity, some to find, our family trees, some do it just to find out who our biological, family is. There's all sorts of different reasons. But all of those reasons, except for maybe the ethnicity, are greatly accelerated by taking and putting your DNA in the other sites and looking at your other matches, because that just gives you far more information and clues on finding your biological family, finding your genealogy, building out your family trees, because it's information that's not available in Ancestry. And so the more more information you have, the easier, the more clues you have, the easier. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe, click the bell notification if you'd like to know when the next one comes out. And as always, I want to thank you all for listening, and you guys have a great day.